Hello, everybody. Everyone say something.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, yeah. I got it right. Yeah, not like the last time we did this where I messed it up. So, look, it's funny. I go on to like Twitch Reddit or OBS Reddit, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm a noob. How do we figure out all this audio shit?" And I was like, "I've been figuring out audio shit since 2014, folks. It doesn't end. It doesn't end.
Doesn't get any easier. No.
Hard and now
mode
you add video.
So,
yeah, now I add video, so it's all that much better. Yeah, it's Brian. It's Mr. Betcher, Miss Berlin, Break It Down Security. For those of you not in Meat Space and you have a commute because your companies are assholes and make you return to office, welcome to the audio podcast. Somebody asked me, are you going to start that back up again? And I was like, well, I can, but it's like the reason I stopped it was because nobody was listening to the audio podcast. But I understand now that there may be some people who are stuck on a train or having to do a proper commute now that can't, watch YouTube. Well, they're not supposed to watch YouTube, but they could when they're driving, I guess. I've seen stupider. But yeah, so welcome to the audio podcast. We will try to entertain you on your way to work. And my sympathies for you having to go into an office. At some point, I know I will have to do as well, but it is what it is. Hey, Walt, welcome. Good evening. Walt has joined us on the Twitch chat, so good to see you. Yeah, we got some good discussion here. Stuff that's different from the weekly stream, which we do, or I do on Twitch and YouTube about news and stuff. And hey, did I tell y'all I'm learning to be a back-end developer now?
What?
Yeah.
What is a back-end developer?
What are you learning?
Well, it's better than a front-end developer, I guess. Hello.
I hear full stack is the only thing that matters.
I'm stacked, packed, and racked, and all day. Yeah. No, so Walt CPO Parker in our Twitch chat there had turned me on to something called boot.dev. And it's like a learning track, like try hack me or hack the box, and you learn all kinds of things. So and it's like a Duolingo thing. So you do something every day and you get like streaks. It's very much like try hack me or hack the box. So boot.dev, and I've been extolling the virtues of that on the stream. I really should see if they want to do a sponsorship or something because I'm just really pimping it out, and I really want to do it on the stream. But I'm like, well, if I show the paid content, because try hack me and hack the box are a little different in that respect. But yeah, they offer JavaScript, they offer Python, Go. They show you how to set up, even Linux. If you were like brand new to Linux, they have a whole 68 session course on Linux stuff, which, I'm just doing for completion's sake. But yeah, so I'm learning Python again, like for the third time. Because a lot of AI stuff that I work on at work, or we're going to be working on, or just making myself more marketable when I finally get laid off at wherever I work, is it looks good on the resume. So Python, AI, prompt engineering, that kind of stuff. So yeah, but so if you're listening to this, actually my company reimbursed me for a year's worth of membership, which there's a code you can use to get 25% off. So I paid like $250 for the whole year. You can use it as much or as little as you want. And yeah, so company paid for that. So that was nice. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Git, Python, and I'm just doing the Linux side for completion's sake, or to make sure if it's like late in the day and I'm not going to get my streak, I can do something in Linux that's super easy. So but yeah, it's great. So, yeah, we've got some definite content to talk about. Mr. Betcher, how you doing? Sorry, the niceties must be observed. How are you, sir? How are you?
Doing okay.
Yeah.
Surviving. Working for retirement,
That's right. Fire is the new term. Financially independent, retire early. That's the term. Yeah. That's another one I learned on Reddit recently too. They're like, yeah, if you can sock away and only live on like $25,000 a year, there are people that are like wanting to retire at like 40. And I was like, more power to them, because I spend $25,000 a year in like toilet paper and stuff. I mean, it's just like, I don't even know how you live on that. Like, a lot of ramen, I guess.
No kids?
That helps. That does help.
No kids help.
Yeah. Having the
you
one.
don't have to put it away for college, things like that.
Right. That makes sense.
And they eat a lot.
They do eat a lot.
Yeah, a lot of Cheetos and a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have the one. So she's in her second year at community college, which, she's not going to Harvard or something. So it's not $300,000 a semester or whatever. So, and, once she transfers to SDSU or UCSD, then, we figured we've got that in part of our financial plan, which I talked to y'all about beforehand. But it's like he has all of that in there. It's like, how much is a year at SDSU or UCSD? It's going to be like $10K a year or something like that. And because, she was going to community college, we have we'll almost have zero student debt. So to her everlasting, she's not going to end up with like crippling, student loan debt whenever she gets out. So that's another plus for her. So I'm trying to give her as much of a leg up as we can before we kick off this mortal coil here. So, but yeah. Miss Berlin, how are you doing? Look at you, senior product manager. Yeah. Just keep adding. Well, you're the Brady Bunch, aren't you? Y'all are Brady. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to move into a bigger place now.
I hope not.
Oh.
I have a really good rate on this mortgage, so I can't move.
But the property values have gone up, right? Your property values,
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like 2.5% on this mortgage.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I just need to sit on that.
Oh yeah.
I want to say our mortgage is very similar. We got it in 2020, so it was probably pretty low at the time. So, but yeah.
Just adding kids and things to do.
That's cool.
We're going to look at colleges on Monday, or a college. There's a college open house at Bowling Green State University, which is like Northwest Ohio.
Yeah. Bowling. Yeah, they have a good sports program. I've heard about them at least in some sport. So
yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's cool. Are scholarships in the future?
Not for any of the children I'm taking.
Ouch.
There's definitely financial aid for 2 out of the 3. Mine is screwed, but
okay.
2 of them will be okay.
Well, 529 programs are great. We have a small 529 for our daughter that we filled in with, and in case we were going to college or something. But yeah, it's very helpful for that. So, wow. Well, congratulations. I've never actually done the whole going to colleges to look at them thing. We have friends who are like, yeah,
I never have. Yeah, I went to, Michael didn't go to college, right? He went to the Marines.
Right.
He went to the closest college that I possibly could because I had a baby. And so, now I'm taking two 19-year-olds and my 16-year-old to go look.
Very cool.
We'll see how it goes. It's cold out. And it should be fun though.
Yeah, trade schools, Padre. Yeah, very much. Trade school is also an option. Yeah.
Seriously, trying to get kids into trade school though is ridiculous. I tried to get him in last year and they were full.
Oh, okay. They're full.
We can't take you. I'm like, well,
damn.
Yeah.
Who would have thought there's a who would have thought there's a waiting list for trade schools? Yeah. I heard diesel mechanics are very similar, but I don't know. That's one of those ones you're not sure where they, how long they'll last. Wyotech, I think, is one my brother was actually looking at a few years back, was a diesel mechanic school. That's always one. It's like you're not sure what the future is going to look like for that. If
right.
At one point it looked like
these ones are just going to be around for a very long time.
Yeah, that's true. There's always going to be diesel engines around. So yeah. Yeah, I went to the University of going to the Navy, and then after I got out, it was like University of Phoenix. So
Right.
just to get my bachelor's, so they were the only one at the time that did online courses, and so yeah,
Yeah.
They
Yep.
have a
now
good
it's all over the place.
athletic program too, right?
They
Or
had a
maybe just a
stadium.
stadium.
They had a stadium. Yeah, the Toilet Bowl in Arizona was what they called it. It's supposed to look like a coiled snake, but everybody in Arizona said it looked like a toilet bowl. But it was University of Phoenix Stadium at one time, and I was like, how in the hell can a university that doesn't actually have a team afford to pay for an NFL stadium naming?
They don't
Yeah,
have
What
to
you say
pay for
about most
actual
high schools.
campuses.
yeah, they don't have to. Yeah, I mean, they had physical campuses at one time, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I actually
Huh.
went to the San Diego campus here for a few things, but yeah, I ended up doing a lot of my stuff online. So, but yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
many technicians are needed for diesel mechanics. It's also a union job, so you've got some of those going for you depending on where you work. So yeah, it's always good. It's always good. Well, good. I'm glad you're gonna get to do the mom thing where you're going and then investigating schools and maybe there's University of Detroit or something like that. You can go and check out those campuses in the in your area there. The Ohio State, maybe
There is the Ohio State. Yeah,
yeah.
that's pricey.
Well, obviously yes,
Uh,
yes,
right. There's a ton of colleges around here, though.
yep.
There's Ashland, there's Cleveland State, there's Kent. Kent's very famous for bad things.
Right, right.
Yeah, Toledo. Yeah, there's a ton.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, I hope you have fun with that.
Yeah,
Because get you some time off and go
freezing.
bond. Yeah. So, okay. So I think we'll talk about the phone number thing first. So there was a LinkedIn article that Miss Berlin had, or no, you'd posted this because you got this email, right?
I didn't get the email. I was in GoFundMe trying
Right.
to like deal with my account. And when I logged in, it sent a 2FA code to my old phone number, which I don't use a whole lot. I try and use my new one.
Hmm.
My old one is a Google Voice number,
Right. 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 Right.
and I try and get things off of that when I can. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, like get sent a 2FA code to that. I'm gonna set up either my new phone number or the app or whatever.
Right.
And so I logged in, and it was the weirdest resetting my phone number 2FA process that I've ever seen ever.
So I saw that you posted this on LinkedIn, and I was like, wow, that is incredibly difficult. So they say to reset your phone number, we need to verify your identity to ensure the security of your account. Fair. I'm great. Please complete this form. So there's a form in addition to the other steps that have to be done. So what information was in the form? Was it all the stuff that like a breach? Are you sure this was a legitimate message
It was
first?
in their website.
Okay, it was on their website. Okay, so it's not
Yeah.
like, some fishers saying, hey,
Nope.
give me your social security number, your credit card
Nope.
info. Okay.
You're logged in, you click on the thing like security account settings, blah, 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 like change your phone number. And it takes
Okay.
you to this link, like fill this out, and then take a picture of
Right.
today's date written down next to your ID picture.
Okay. All right.
And then like take a picture and like send it in, and their team actually reviews it to like make sure. And like part of me wanted to cut the numbers of today's date out of a magazine.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Like it's a ransom note, and like send that in. But then also I think like I don't actually have magazines anywhere.
Oh, yeah. That sucks. It's like, well, how do you. So yeah, today's date on piece of paper, lay your valid ID. So did they tell you what a valid ID? It says government issued photo ID. So it could be,
I mean,
passport. It could be a driver's
sure.
license. Yeah. Take a picture. Yeah. See, I don't, I,
They
I
have
still,
someone looking at these pictures,
right,
but
right,
there can't be that many. There cannot
right.
be that many people daily that do this. So it has to go to like their support center.
Yeah. Something like this wouldn't scale if it was like
Right.
10,000 a day or something like that. Right.
So then like being that now I'm like focused on completely product stuff all the time now, I'm just thinking, all right, at some point in time, somebody's like, nope, it's not worth it to put the developer's time into making this process any better. It's going to cost too much money. And you know what? It's for the amount of times that people actually have to do this, it's
Yep.
worth it just to put it on support.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Some of the GoFundMe's get pretty large, right? So you would want some sort of legitimate
Right.
method by doing this. But I'm like, if I stole your wallet, Miss Berlin, and I wanted to change the phone number so that and it's not even like change your password or username, it's just change the phone number for the account.
Right.
I could do that. I could probably find a reasonable facsimile of the Ohio's, driver's license with your
Are they
photo.
going to check my ID number against like the Ohio BMV?
Right.
No,
Right.
there's no way.
Yeah, no, plus, how are they having, is it an email? Do they have you email it? Or is there an upload or
That's a
something?
good question.
Because I was like, if they're sending it over email, that's just as good as like giving it to somebody on the street. Because then it's like, there's TLS over email, sure, but it's like, if you're sending that to a mailbox, how many people have access to that information now? Because I'm like, I'm asking myself, like, now how many hundreds of people will have access to that in your box?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel good to do that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of work there.
Sounds like it might be going against some privacy laws too.
That is a true statement, but to be honest, given our current state of affairs in America, we don't have any privacy anymore. It's all gone. Treasury, Medicare, Medicaid, anything that you do with the government has probably been owned by now, which is one of the other stories that we have here on the system as well. But Mr. Betcher, you and I.
It's an actual like web form. So like underneath the picture that I added, there's like email address, link to fundraiser, your current phone number, more than one email address, why you're changing your number. So they give you like a drop down list of choices.
Lost my phone.
A free form additional details text.
Right.
Confirming a box confirming that you've uploaded your ID and also confirming that the ID includes today's date.
I don't understand that. That's the one that gets me is today's date. What if they don't look at it for 2 days? What if you sent it in on a Friday afternoon and nobody's seeing them?
My ID has a date from 3 years from now when it expires.
You have to write the date down on a piece of paper though.
Right.
So you have to have a piece of white paper with like 16 February 2025 on it, and then you put your license right on underneath it, and then you take a picture of that, and then you upload that.
And you have to have your face in there too.
No. I would have imagined you would have to have your face in it because like when I did like stuff for Uber, like they make you take a picture of like your actual face and they compare it to the picture on your ID.
Right.
Yeah. No, this is not that.
Okay.
Real weird.
Does that almost make you not trust what else GoFundMe is doing? Is that like
100%.
Does that feel like it's a fly-by-night organization where it's just like
a little bit?
It's like
a little.
There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Yeah, I don't know. It says once your team has reviewed your ID, you'll receive a confirmation email that your new phone number can be added. Can be added. So at some point you're going to get a URL to GoFundMe to go and put in your new phone number, which means at that point, if somebody intercepts that email or has access to your email inbox, they can change it to whatever phone number they want, probably. So
yeah,
yeah, that scares the shit out of me.
Real interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a Google phone number since 2009. So, yeah, I've tried not to use it, but every once in a while I'll get a text message saying, "Hey, we're gonna reclaim your number." So I send myself a text message and I respond to myself back to make sure that I can keep my phone number for another 90 days or something.
And I have to tell you, if you go to GoFundMe and just look at the fundraisers on like the beginning of their page.
Yeah.
Like the first one I clicked on has almost $400,000 raised.
Oh, I have no doubt there's probably some that have a lot of money. And it's like there's
Like
got to be
that's
some
a
security there,
lot.
but does
A
it
lot.
the processes for their security on the back end does not inspire confidence that somebody could make off with your information there, so
Correct.
or do something. So from a usability point of view, I was like, maybe that's maybe because everyone's like, oh, everybody should use 2FA or have some kind of Google Auth or something like that, and I'm like, you have to remember. Beta Wolf, you're not bidding for my cat. No, my cat's more valuable than 400K. She's not here. 400K is a lot. Yeah. Walt says, I was doing second factor on an app. They sent me the second factor by email. Every time I switched to get the code, I couldn't enter the code in the app. It was a spinner. I selected to use phone call and was successful. Yeah, there's, I'm okay with two-factor where it's like, hey, send a text message or they can call me. Like my Chase Bank will be like, send a text message or give them a call. And I'm like, okay. I like having options, but because I understand that there's different technology levels for folks, right? You've got some folks that want to use, WebAuthn, and I want to be all like high tech and stuff. And then there's others that can't, SMS is all they can figure out.
Right.
And so usability is an important function for security, Beta Wolf, the only reason that people say that SMS is not good is because I think NIST said it was bad. NIST is a guideline, it's a framework, it's not legally binding. A lot of banks still use SMS 2FA because it's what their people use. It's the easiest 2FA method they have, right? And
is it better than most things, or is it better than not having it? 100%.
Right. And so, the worst thing you can do for something like, a bank is to keep people from their money. And if you want to hear about poor user experience, it's going to be the person that can't figure out that newfangled SMS app or the thing that's going to have them, install on their phone or whatever. Spoofing of numbers is your main concern, but you're not going to spoof hundreds of thousands of numbers all at one time. In that case, I would say, hello, Age of Music. I think that's where we get some of our threat issues, right? It's like, yes, everyone should use something other than SMS 2FA if they can handle that. It just feels like, sometimes you're not going to be doing thousands of spoofing of numbers. Or if you're going to attempt to take over somebody's account, it's going to be very pointed. It's going to be very specific. Like it'll be somebody attacking me, not half a dozen people at the same time. So yes, I'm out however much money that is, but that's why they, the banks are like, okay, we'll reimburse your money, change your phone number, change your password, whatever. But yeah, for the most part, I don't hear about a lot of spoofing unless it's a targeted attack. And maybe I'm wrong here.
Same.
Yeah.
Yes, it's possible, but
Yeah, we run into that a lot at work, and I was talking about some of that with impact and CVE stuff. It's like, it is a critical impact to one person. So does that make it a critical impact for the company? Sure, sometimes. If it's a critical impact that affects 10,000 users, that is a higher priority, a higher impact than that poor person whose account may be taken over. If one person's account is taken over, that is bad, yes, as a company. But it's not as bad as 10,000 people's accounts getting hit at the exact same time and having 10,000 accounts that have access all at the same time. It's a completely different critical issue. So there are even in criticals, there's different levels of critical. SIM swapping is an issue, but it is easy to do. Again, Walt, it's a one-for-one kind of thing usually. You're not swapping hundreds of SIMs at the same time, unless there's other news articles where it's being done at a widespread amount. So sometimes when I want to punch one person in the face, I'll punch a bunch of people in the face. Sometimes it's collateral damage. Sometimes I just want to be a problem. Well said, Agent Music. Well said. You're up late. Wow. Age of Music is one of our folks across the pond, I believe. So, but yeah. So, oh, it's 7 p.m. Oh, my bad. Okay. Let me see. No, you're not offended. Spokane. That's right. That's right. Sorry, I'm not used to having this. Yeah, it sounds like bedtime. It's definitely late. It feels late for me. Yeah. So that's interesting. So it sounds like, don't change your phone number a lot if you go to GoFundMe.
I just can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
I would rather leave it at my old phone number than do that. That's stupid.
Well, I'm wondering what they make you do if you have to change your password, or you need to change your name on there, or you need to do something else. Like, I need to change my name. Well, okay, now you have to, have a newspaper posted in front of you showing the date and, whatever major news story is going on. And then you have to go behead a chicken under a full moon, show that you're legit.
Send you instructions to reset your password. I don't know if I should do this or not.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't get yourself locked out.
We'll see what the email says.
So I will post this up in our chat here, and I will have links to all of the news articles and things that we talk about in our show notes for the audio podcast. So this is a Substack article from I Came Tough. And it's talking about how security teams fail. And when it comes to InfoSec, there are certain mistakes most companies are more or less bound to make. It was interesting read. Some of those things that I seen in there was some startup stuff specifically. It's like, the first full-time InfoSec headcount usually materializes by the time the company reaches about 100 people. And that kind of fits along with what I had read about blog posts. And it's like the first 20 people you're going to hire at a startup are not security people. The first person you're probably going to hire at a startup is going to be a compliance person or a lawyer, because at some point you're going to get popular enough where a vendor is going to ask you, or a customer is going to ask you, are you SOC 2 compliant? Are you PCI compliant? Do you have something in there? And then it's like, well, it's not a security thing you're going to ask. You're going to need a compliance person to make sure that they can evaluate the controls and go, yes, we are, or we aren't, or here's what we need to do. And then at some point, you're going to need people to do that work. And so
it's usually, though, until you're at least 100 people, it's going to be, okay, Bob, you're going to be the security guy as well as the lead developer, something like that. So you'll designate somebody as your security guy, and it's only going to be because you have to be PCI compliant. You have to be, follow the HIPAA regulations, whatever it is that you do. It's some requirement.
Right. Yeah, actually, he mentions it in here at one point. He said the hired or promoted into a full-time role is almost never a seasoned professional with industry building security programs. The founders themselves might be industry veterans with a clear vision. And that, they say that, you're going to have and jobs. It's like you're going to be the head developer and the guy who brings in donuts on Fridays, or the person who brings in, the beer on Thursdays or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then it's like you're going to start getting silos and you're going to start having issues. And it's like I Came Tough has seen this over the course of 25 years where they're building these companies, and they say, I loved part 4, the apocalypse. The process almost inevitably culminates into a major breach. The breach is not always preventable. There's not much that a mid-tier tech company can do to repel a top-tier state actor. That said, most of the time, the compromise involves an attack surface that the team has long recognized as a major concern, but never adequately addressed. And I was like, wow, that is hurtful.
Every small to medium company that I've been in some big companies, and of course, I don't know the history when they were small because they were just behemoths. Right. But the small and the medium ones, every time they had to create a security team, because they got breached every time.
Right.
It wasn't, hey, this would be a great idea. No, they were forced into it. It's always they were forced into it.
Right. Right. Because that's
You
sunk
cut
cost,
off-
right?
Yeah, you put off, especially even having a CISO until then,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
right? Like that's a big paying position.
Yeah.
Like, why do that if we can get away with like
Yeah.
one kind of security engineer?
Right.
Nothing's happened so far.
Right.
We've been
Of
fine.
course, that person's going insane, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it talks about, how they build up their system. They say after a couple of years, organizational structure becomes ossified. There's a pen testing team. There's a vulnerability management group, a group providing product launches, and so on and so on. And they become ossified. There's, the silos begin. The, us versus them start happening. Creates an interesting problem. None of these groups own any clear business outcomes. They run projects. Projects come with endless supply of features, bugs to fix, performance improvements to make. If you ask the teams to plan ahead, they will catalog these project-specific objectives and ask for more headcount for their thing. By and large, they're not going to question the need for the existence or the continued growth of their own roles. So yeah, it's interesting because you see that even in the microcosm in some companies where you've had reorganizations. Immediately, we automatically start creating silos. Things, having gone through about 5 reorgs in the past 18 months, you see that it's like, okay, you're on the bounty team. Okay, you're doing this thing. We're over here doing this thing. And we have another group that does this thing. And I'm like, shouldn't we, and to be fair, the recent reorg that we just had, my manager is actually starting to see where, our different teams should work together as in a more cohesive unit. We have goals set up towards those things. But I have seen that even in the microcosm and in the departmental level, it's like, okay, you've got this group, this group, this group. They don't talk to one another. And then, this team is building a tool. This team is building the exact same tool, but these two teams don't actually know that they're building the exact same tool until they go and talk to one another about getting their data sets, and then they find out, oh, I'm 6 months ahead here, we're 3 months behind here. You see that a lot. It's unfortunate, but that's a good article if you have, especially if you want to be like, oh yeah, that's us. I think anybody can read that article and go, yeah, I see that. I've seen that, or I live it every day. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Ouch. It's an ugly, ugly thing to see when
like
that
we
comes
all
up.
knew it. You didn't have to write it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Could have left the silent part silent. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. But so I've worked at a startup. I was employee number 250 at CrowdStrike. I was actually the first non-C-level security person, other than, well, second one after the GRC folks, building out, vulnerability management program, helping them with scans and things like that. And by the time we left, I think there was 5 security people at that time. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, one, just getting a seat at the table if you're a security team. And you're probably the newest team. Everyone else has been here for a couple of years. They all have their little in jokes. You're the third wheel in the company, engagement. It's like, oh, I need to go talk to these folks. Well, they already have the relationships. Security people have to come in. They have to build that relationship. And it's almost like coming into, it's like if you walked into the sitcom Friends as the seventh friend, like at the end with Paul Rudd. And it's like, well, he didn't actually get to be a friend. He just he's still on the outside looking in. And, so it's one of those things. So, but I don't want to ask you, Miss Berlin, about this, but you actually do work for a startup.
I do.
And Mr. Betcher, you kind of work for a smaller company now. Did any of this resonate with you at all?
Yeah, other than, building the team because of a incident,
right?
because you had to, right?
Right.
Sort of. I mean, I think we're pretty much past that phase now.
That's good. How did you get past that phase?
Built a large security team.
So it took a large security team to get you past that. Was there how did you build trust, or how did you, build the relation? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good leadership.
But management wanted that, right? So a lot of times you'll find that you have to build that trust one-sided, right?
One-sided.
Like the management, you're a sunk cost. You're not there to help the company, so you have to come in, and security has to treat it as though, hey, we have to build the trust because we're here to help you, but management's not really thrilled that you're there.
Yeah, I mean, by that point, they understood how important it is.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
it's important. But it was after a breach or something.
It was. Yeah, I mean, it's cost. It's a risk reduction.
Right.
That's why they buy insurance. For various things.
Right.
Yeah, it's risk reduction. It's a necessary thing, right?
Yep. Yep.
Mine was
Some people don't see it that way, right? In some organizations, they don't see it as a risk reduction, or they don't think those things. They're too focused on product,
right,
and profit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ms. Berlin, you were saying something?
Mine was more previous life, not the current startup, or like other companies that I talk to, like customers and stuff. Where they have like one person.
Right.
Two people in charge of it and still struggling to try and
right. Even more now than before, B2B customers, clients, they're demanding proof that you have the right security.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. It's funny. We've talked about this before, and we've actually had like Jared DeFreitas on and whatever, and using third-party pen tests and agents outside of the company as agents of change, because the security company or the security team or whatever amounts for security from the company cannot get management to budge on that, even though, how many times have people said, well, we need to do X, Y, and Z, and management won't listen to us until we bring in the third parties to tell them that, and then they finally listen. I think that some of that is what we're seeing here. It's like, they, like you said, they only bring you in after a breach, or they only bring you in to do risk reduction. It probably, the new relationship lasts as long as they don't remember that there was a breach. So you've got about 3 months, and then it's like, oh, well, it won't happen again. We've already gone through that. It won't happen again. We will never have to,
I've seen like the third party that comes in being less informed and less talented and less knowledgeable than the people that work there.
Yeah.
And still they listen
to
the people that they paid a bunch of money to.
Yeah, it sucks.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, but okay, whatever. As long as leadership says yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or what's worse, you've been screaming that this one thing needs to get fixed. You bring in pen testers and they identify it as a critical thing.
Yeah.
And then a year later, you get attacked on that same thing. And then you're thinking, well, if only somebody would have identified this a year ago, we wouldn't have all this emergency and downtime and weekends, and war rooms and things like that.
See, that's why you have a folder in your Outlook that says, I told you so, with those emails in there. And then when the boss and management goes, well, I wish we'd have known about this a year ago, you'd be like, forward.
I never delete my email.
Nope. I had to get a PST because I am awful. I am awful from an e-discovery point of view. I still have like a PST for it's 4 years old at where I work.
Oh God.
I bypassed the 90-day retention stuff, and the only thing I can't figure out how to do right now is I do a lot of shit in Slack, and keeping an archive of those Slacks really requires me to take screenshots, which is yet another e-discovery problem, because it's like that doesn't go away. So I've got about 10,000 screenshots in my screenshot. I'm a screenshot whore. I take screenshots right now.
Oh my God.
Boom. I have to, because it's like, I'll have conversations with people for security stuff or for like a project I need them to do. And they will be like, I don't know anything about that. Well, here's a screenshot of you and me talking on Slack about that, right? Oh, yeah, that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
slipped my mind.
So yeah, screenshots are your friend, man. Greenshot, I love Greenshot. I like ShareX. I can do videos.
We're not to the point that our Slack messages go away yet.
Oh, that's good.
Only in public channels. Private channels are still limitless. Like they don't archive those.
Okay.
So I'm safe so far.
Well, they don't archive ours. They just straight up delete them because of,
that's like
space.
There's so much documentation in our Slack. There's no way.
Right. Well, like pinned things are still there, but it's like, they probably archive. They probably do archive that stuff for e-discovery, but it's like, I don't have it. It's like anything before December of this year or last year, I don't have it anymore. And so if I don't take a screenshot, it's gone. Right. So
that drive me crazy. Yeah, I would do the same thing. I'd be taking lots of screenshots.
Yeah. And the good thing is, you can set it up by like date and time or whatever when you took the screenshot. So if somebody says, "Oh, you remember that time on the 13th we did?" I was like, "Let me go look." And so I can go back through my screenshots of important IRs or incident responses, or when somebody told me to go ahead and do that thing, and I said probably shouldn't do that thing. And so yeah. Yeah, too much fun. Some things you learn along the way that you need to do. So, but yeah, read that if you want some cathartic discussion. Read read that article from I Came Tough. So, our Slack did, so we moved to Teams. Ooh, I'm sorry. Walt CPO Parker moved to Teams. Poor guy. We haven't done that yet. We're on Slack and we have some stuff that we use like a Zoom like thing. So, but yeah. So if anybody's
Google Workspace,
what's that?
Google Workspace.
I like Google Workspace. No? It's fun. Yeah. I have a Google Workspace. Yeah. Yeah, it works nice. I mean, I have one for my personal domain that I use. It'll do a lot of things like MDM and stuff as well. You can provision your Android devices with MDM through your workspaces and set up like filtering and all kinds of stuff. But I was like, yeah, it's a little overkill. I just need it for email. So yeah, domain registration. Yeah. I haven't used Teams in a few years, so it may have gotten better. I don't know, Walt. To be fair, I haven't used it since my last gig, so maybe I'll use it in an upcoming gig. So, so who's been using Shodan? Anybody been using Shodan recently? Maybe scanning the internet, doing a little mass scan? Not recently.
Mm-hmm.
Well, according to cyberintel.substack.com. There's a new government organization out there for you U.S. Americans that is called Doge, and there's a lot of bullshittery going on there. But apparently, Shodan is noticing some new IPs and unrestricted RDP connection availability in some servers in certain government organizations, including the Department of Energy. What was some of the other places they had?
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, there had been some reports that they were setting up servers for remote access for something in the government space. I'm trying really, really hard to not make political, things about it. But they said between January 14th and February 8th, servers belonging to Lawrence Livermore National Labs, Los Alamos, Thomas Jefferson National Accelerator Facility, and Fermi Accelerator National Labs have been found with RDP services exposed to the public internet. Now, they do a lot of nuclear research. Los Alamos, of course, if you go to the Substack article, there's big giant radiation controlled areas, radioactive material area kind of thing. This is not something you want to have RDP exposed to the internet in some God only knows configuration. And they say they have some proof. They said 8 IP addresses on Amazon's GovCloud now point to Inventory, INVENTRY.AI's REST API, indicating a massive fire hose of data being sent to the AI company's servers. So they have 8 servers in the Amazon's GovCloud, which is the restricted cloud that they use for government work. I think Microsoft has something similar for the military called JEDI. But yeah, GovCloud, I know about GovCloud a while ago, so, but it's not
Don't you
new.
think they just like they should just make it so anything GovCloud can't have RDP open?
See,
Yeah, how hard is that?
Well, see, I don't understand. I'm not exactly sure where the RDP sits. If it sits on at Los Alamos, not in the Amazon GovCloud, because there are restrictions on GovCloud where
Sure.
things can't go out. You like the last time I had to log into that was 2 jobs ago, but I needed a hard RSA token with like the 8-digit number thing. I had to have a separate account that I logged into on another computer with another VPN connection that was completely, full tunneled just to get into the Bastion host, which then allowed me to connect to GovCloud. So, I mean, it is a non-zero amount of effort here to get GovCloud to work. So my guess is these RDP servers sit inside of Los Alamos labs. So like somebody just went in, plugged in an IP, plugged in a router, got a DHCP connection, is out. That's what I'm hoping. I don't think that they are going to allow GovCloud to have that access because of how they do FedRAMP requirements of ingress and egress filtering and all that shit. So yeah, there's.
So in this one section it says proof. 8 IP addresses on Amazon's GovCloud now point to Inventory.AI's REST API.
Right.
How do they know where something is pointing to from the outside? How can I tell that an internal IP address is pointing to an external IP address? Unless I hack into the network and then notice an outbound connection.
Yeah, so the paragraph above it, because I was trying to figure out how they knew about Inventory.ai, and it says, investigation reveals that Inventory.ai may be one of the AI products in question with multiple US IP addresses pointing to its, this includes a massive flow of government data being sent to the company's AI servers. I don't know. It could be somebody's listening to the network connection. I'm not sure how they're getting that information. So
they logged into the RDP server.
It could be somebody who exists at one of those organizations has leaked a packet capture on the network, or a network admin or somebody, or a whistleblower who's doing this. So it does the person doesn't name any sources here, but they say Treasury's also involved. So their NetScaler has remote access to the Treasury inspector. So there's servers that have been set up in all these systems to push out to AI for whatever reason. The government is in a weird place right now. That's understating it greatly. But I mean, our own companies have similar issues. It doesn't take much for somebody to set up a server connection and then go out. So if you're not monitoring your ingress and egress, that stuff can happen. We had a DEF CON talk on. We did backdoors and breaches. We played backdoors and breaches with wading through logs. And we went through a scenario where we had a North Korean IT person was hired by a company, which never happens in the United States. But it was, that person had set up a computer and was exfiltrating data out over DNS and stuff like that. And it's like, how did we find it? Well, we did network analysis and we saw the large amounts of traffic going out over egress. And so, yeah, monitoring that stuff is still a legitimate way of finding that information. But I mean, this is not where it's being done secretly. This is just, they walked up in there literally with a server and plugged it in. It was pretty well documented that these were happening. But yeah, it's just insider threat is insider threat, man. So yeah. So there's citations down at the bottom. So Shodan, apparently somebody scanned with Shodan, the Department of Energy. Anonymous log, so 24.231.209.106 Department of Energy anonymous login with write access on Shodan. I mean, aren't there websites that allow you to monitor like BGP traffic and what's going over BGP? So you could do something like that too. If you're monitoring the BGP routes that Los Alamos and them had, if you could figure all that out, then you could potentially see traffic going to and from, depending on if it's encrypted or not. But you're still going to see IP addresses, right? So that's why they didn't have specific domains. But yeah, so there are citations in the article if you're interested in following up with any of those things, including the Shodan.io with the IP addresses. Let me see. Let me look at this Shodan. Amazon AWS.com, US East 1, REST APIs for inventory.ai. Okay, so that is a. And I don't think Shodan would lie to us. After 1,200 layoffs at National Nuclear. Yeah, so there was, I saw that where they'd laid off a bunch of nuclear folks and then they had to hire them all back.
An accident? Yeah.
There's no accidents. It's not accidents.
Of course.
Do you have to be a federal employee to deploy a host in GovCloud?
A federal employee? I don't think so.
Just a provider trying, or
you could be a third party in there. I know
Yes.
there are companies that do operate within GovCloud, but there are strict requirements for separation, for, I mean, like I said, you know, when I was accessing it, I needed a hard token and I needed blah and I needed blah. That was just to get me to the Bastion host, which then would allow me to go in. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of shit. And, you know, some of the, I mean, it is depending on, especially because everybody goes for FedRAMP High or whatever the highest version of that is, because they want to be able to work in as large an area as possible. So, the controls are even more strict than like if you did a lower version of FedRAMP, depending on what your organization is. So, but yeah, it's just crazy. Check out the citations in the article, you know, for veracity if you're interested. We'll have those in the article as well. So, How many of you use Steam, the gaming application? Do you have it on your work computer?
My kids used to.
I don't have it on my work computer anymore.
Good answer. So apparently, a game called Pirate Fi was released on Steam last week. On the marketplace, contained malware.
It's in the name, right?
Yeah. Users that played the game received the following email. It says, "Hello, SteamDB. We're contacting you. You recently launched Pirate Fi. The Steam account of the developer for this game uploaded builds to Steam that contained suspected malware. We strongly encourage you to run a full system scan using an AV product and that you trust or use regularly, and inspect your system for unexpected or newly installed software. You may also consider reformatting your operating system to ensure no malicious software remains on your machine."
Oh.
Yeah, supply chain, yeah? I mean, you allow your employees to use their work machines for letting little Billy run homework, or, hey, I'm going to run Steam on here. Hey, here's a cool new game called Pirate Fi, and now you're owned. And so, yeah, good stuff. But so that was an interesting thing I saw on Blue Team Sec Reddit, which was just awful. So. You do at home only. Well, yeah, I only do at home only, Walt, as well. Of course, you know, I'm still paranoid enough that I isolate my work machine onto its own wireless network. I don't do anything, I don't do anything personal on my work machine except for Slack. That's the only thing. I have the Brakesec Slack on there, and because I can use it to pass, CTI data, threat intelligence data and stuff. But yeah, I still separate work and personal. I don't mix the two, because the danger lies there, like Steam games or what have you. So, Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't have anything else. Oh, well, no. There was one more. There was one more talk. We hacked a software supply chain for $50,000. Did you have a chance to read that one at all?
Just that one.
Yeah. I didn't get to read all of it. I got down to about halfway through, but they said they used using a supply chain attack, allowing RCE on developer pipelines and production servers. We secured a $50,000 bounty. This one intrigued me because I do bounty program work for my joint, and so I was like, I hope this isn't ours. I mean, they paid out, but it's like technically you're not supposed to blog about it on with our program unless you clear it with us first to make sure that we're cool with it. So I hadn't had a chance to go through all of it and see if it was which supply chain or which company it was. So it looks like they may have changed the names to protect the innocent. So they talked about going through a subsidiary. Which they went through corporate press releases, reading official announcements, and scouring LinkedIn to see which companies had been acquired and how far along they were in the integration process. Ooh, wow. Wow. That's interesting. So if you're in that, golden honeymoon thing, your networks are probably not in parity security-wise. So that's a good time to maybe go and poke at something.
I like how they just didn't settle for low-hanging bugs.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they just kept going.
Yeah.
They wanted the big fish, right?
Right. They pulled GitHub Docker images. So they went to GitHub, they turned to Google and typed in acquisition utilities, naively hoping to reveal more artifacts. They found a Docker Hub organization tied to the subsidiary's brand. They pulled down the Docker images and went through the source code. They were hoping to find, hard-coded credentials. Looks like they found an authorization token, a GitHub Actions token. Okay. So I love these articles because it's a long-form article and there's a lot of information in here. But you could use this for your incident response tabletop, your next incident response tabletop, because a lot of stuff that they were talking about in here is things that you're going to have. You're going to have a GitHub repo. You might have, other things in there. But so if you go on the assumption that, hey, we have a GitHub, we have these things, we can say we have this thing, what would happen, in that case? Or find something analogous, like if you're going to use a token system, maybe you have an HSM, or maybe you have an AWS token machine or something like that. And you can always use that to, maybe you didn't find a GitHub action token, you found a KMS value in the sheet or in the config file that decrypts something to help you with your scenarios.
And did you read their recon section?
How
they scoured LinkedIn?
Oh, for like M&A stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's just interesting the OSINT that they can find that, if you're communicating that up for your companies. So, yeah. Let me see what the final was here for this. Conclusion, we submitted our findings. The company immediately recognized this was the kind of chain reaction bug that could compromise not just a single product, but the entire development to production lifecycle. They classified it as a rare worst case scenario vulnerability and awarded us a $50,500 bounty, far exceeding their ordinary payout structure. Okay. We had finally captured our exceptional vulnerability discovery that validated every hunch and piece of knowledge we'd picked up over the years. So, yeah. So, nice write-up. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. They had to prove, post-exploitation. So they fetched Docker images. They found the NPM token. They published a package to their registry in the private organization using that token. So there's a lot of things that they showed how they could do. It almost feels like it was a pen test or some kind of event where they could get away with this kind of thing with people's full knowledge in there. So they have a lot of those all over the world. The HackerOne will do like more private type events where you'll have a bit more access and there's actual legitimate people from the company on site to do that stuff. So, but yeah, anyway, I don't think we have anything else. That's a good article though, if you want to read through that one. Definitely something you could use, like I said, for an IR tabletop or whatever, because all of that stuff is probably fairly legitimate for most companies.
Yeah.
especially if they're in the cloud. They're going to use Docker or Kubernetes or some kind of containerization. They'll have a GitHub. They'll have these things. So, yeah. Anyway, anything else we want to talk about? I renewed my GWAP and my GCIH. I know I mentioned that on LinkedIn. I used to think SANS was going to be really expensive to renew, but it's not hard to get those. They have those virtual summits where you can sign up for them, and they do different things. Like I went to an OSINT summit, and I went to a CTI summit, and I went to a AI summit that they did, and each one of those is 12 credits. And with that, you can each 12 credit summit, you can apply to up to 3 certifications. So I went to 3 of their summits over a 2-day period and got my 36 credits. So, it's really easy if you have a SANS cert to spend 6 days in a year and get your renewal, and you're saving yourself several $1,000s, not having to take a class or something. So, yeah. Plus they have webinars and other things that you can take, like videos, and do those if you want to do those as well. Plus I get 36 credits for my CISSP for that as well, because I can double dip on those. But cool. Well, I don't have anything else. Mr. Betcher, your GWAP is coming up soon, isn't it? Did you?
No, that expired.
You let your cert expire?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Why? How come?
I just never would use it.
Oh, I see.
Web application pen testing. Yeah, that's not something I do. So, yep.
I'm hard pressed to give up any certifications at this point in my life and in this job market. So, I actually have 8 pounds worth of SANS books downstairs because I paid extra for them to send me all this stuff. So far, I've looked through the 504 stuff. They've gotten rid of the pickerel thing that I learned, in incident response. Oh, yeah. Now they've gone to some kind of, like, they called it DAIR, D-A-I-R, dynamic. Let's see, DAIR incident response. Yeah, dynamic approach to incident response. It's interesting. They, I don't know if this Medium article will load, but they have diagrams and stuff in the 504 doc that I haven't read. But yeah, okay, so they have kind of a diagram on that site with the DARE model. Let me put that in our book here, our notes. There we go. Number 5. I'll put it down as number 5 on the list here, just, if y'all want to take a look. Or 6. Anyway, 6. Yeah, there we go.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's instead of containment, eradication, and recovery, which Pickerel was all of that, it's just like a constant circle until you break that flywheel. So you're scoping, containing, or eradicating, because the idea is there could be 3 areas where there's an infection. You found the one, you scope it, you fix it. Oh, we're done, we're good. And then you go on and you've still been infected twice. So the idea is, continually look around, find things, get better, rescope, contain, eradicate, scan everything, do a job, and so that in a way will expand. Your IR schedule or timelines are going to be worse, because it's like you have to be sure, and at some point you have to break that flywheel. You're going to be like, did we check X? Did we check Y? Did we check Z? So it's almost like you need to break down your network by certain segments. Like, did everybody check the firewalls? Did everybody, check the databases? Did they check the infrastructure? You'll have that checklist in your IR plans to go, okay, look at these major systems, look at these minor systems, look at the once in a million systems, or maybe you should look at the once in a million systems first, that kind of thing.
And are you ever sure?
Exactly, but you got to break that flywheel at some point. The criteria has to be there. Somebody has to call it. It's like, look, we've done enough. We've checked 5 systems. We didn't find anything past the initial infection. Somebody's going to have to make that decision at that point, and then move to post-incident wrap-up, where they're doing lessons learned and collecting evidence and writing the reports and everything.
You can't let perfect be the enemy of good, right?
Yep.
Right. And, even after the incident, hopefully this will have then, encouraged you, like, we talked about some, detection mechanisms or something, but you should be adding detection mechanisms across hopefully you've got those, or your MSSP is going to be, adding new detections or new CTI and sharing that CTI, the threat intelligence with other folks to make sure that they're also not hit by those things. But anyway. But yeah, they're going to this DARE model, which I found interesting. It was a huge change from the last time I took the class in it was 2017 when I took the class, but things hadn't changed much in that time. So, but it's good to see. So, all right. Well, I'm good. Unless y'all have something else you want to talk about.
No.
Nope. Okay. Ms. Berlin, how would people find you on the internet if they wanted to talk to you about product management or being a leader or, colleges and universities?
LinkedIn's best. So
okay.
Just Linda Berlin at LinkedIn.
Okay. All right. Mr. Betcher, if, same question, colleges and, investing and.
I suppose LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm starting to invest in miners more, not just
like people under the age of 18.
Yes.
Same.
No, mining companies.
Oh, mining company. Well, you said miners, and I'm like, mine is, you idiot. Yeah. Mine is. And then
not just the what do you call it? The radioactive kind, but
okay.
Like lead, zinc, gold, copper, silver, those kind.
Why do I imagine you with a big bushy beard and a pickaxe and a donkey, and you're like, I'm gonna go get me some gold.
I'm panning for gold.
Yeah, give me some gold. You gotta miss a tooth. You get a couple teeth blacked out or whatever.
I hear it makes the HDMI cords better.
Oh, that would, yeah. All the gold. Yeah. It's gold in them there keyboards. Yeah.
Copper.
Yeah. Copper. Yeah. The copperheads. Yeah.
Silver.
A lot of silver. A lot of palladium. Are we just naming elements
naming minerals now?
Yeah, just naming elements.
Yttrium. Yeah.
There's a song that goes through the whole periodic table, and it's very difficult.
Yeah, I think it's Wacko Warner is doing it. I think.
It is
the Elements song. Where is it?
Yeah. It's the same. So my youngest.
The same people as the state song.
Is the 102 digits of 100 digits of pi.
Oh yeah.
And 200 digits of pi. My youngest is learning like 100 digits of pi.
Oh. That's useful.
Yeah, it's a good bar trick.
I guess so. What's the 100th digit of pi?
No, I told him I would pay him $100 if he learned
100
digits of pi, and he is very close. He is like 20 digits away.
Wow.
Okay.
Victory Science Theater or something like that. It's very catchy.
He can just Google it. Give me pi out to 100 digits.
You could just do it in your head then.
No, I can't do that.
It's a nice, hey, buy me a drink and
I will tell you 100 digits of pi, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that'll get the ladies, I tell you.
Yeah.
He needs something to go for it. Go as well.
It's the worst game spin I've ever heard. Hey, I can take you home and show you 28 characters of pi.
Exactly.
I don't even know where to go with that.
The oldest one's got the muscles. Somebody's got to be the geeky one. So
brawn and the brains. Okay. Yeah. Osmium. Yes, Walt. Yes, osmium. Yeah. Einsteinium.
I'll put the link to the song in the show notes.
Europium. That was a Jeopardy question the other night. It was like, which two elements in the table start with two vowels? It's osmium and europium. Those are the two. So, gonna remember that. That's a good answer. What do you know? That's a true statement.
Okay. Well, yeah, but.
Oh no, I think it said other than iodine, what are the other two elements that have two vowels to start with? So iodine, osmium, and europium are the three that they have. So, but yeah. I thought we were gonna talk about like stocks and stuff with Kramer. I actually have a steel mine that it's called MSB, I think. It's a mining trust up in Minnesota that sends steel and iron ore down on the flat ships like the Edmund Fitzgerald was through Lake Superior and that. So I've had that for a few years now because they pay excellent dividends. So I love me a stock with dividends. But anyway. This has been Stock Talk with Brian. All right, well, you can follow me on LinkedIn as well. I'm also on bsky at brianbrake.com. And our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@BrakesecEd. There you go. And our VOD will be on there if you're listening to this on the audio show. And you can watch us. We're talking here, and you'll see me talking about you, talking about us, talking here. Something like that. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, I'm not.
I'm trying to copy the YouTube links of the songs.
Oh, please do so. And we'll hold on. Do you have it on there? Okay.
Yeah.
Periodic table and 100 digits of pi. Okay, let's put those in the chat real quick so folks can get them, because I know that they're just dying to get them. Hold on now. By God, Miss Berlin sacrificed time and effort for this, so you all better watch this.
Good. And then I also did not realize the other kinds of songs that ASAP Science has made songs about.
Oh, yeah?
And yep. I didn't realize that they were making other kinds of songs that were not child appropriate.
Wow. I don't know what just happened there. I can't. God damn it. Just let me copy the link. Why is it so difficult? I hate so much the things I choose to be. Anyway, all right. Well, those are the two that you got there. The last two are the 100 digits of pi and the periodic table song. You can go check those out. Give a thumbs up. Say, hey, Brakesec sent us. I don't know.
And in your next job interview.
Yeah. Put it on your next job interview. Hire me and I'll tell you what the 100th digit of pi is. And so you're making fat loot there. Anyway, all right, everybody, I'm out. Thank you. Right. Thank you, Miss Berlin. Thank you, Mr. Betcher. Appreciate y'all. And that was it for Breaking Down Security. Take care. Be safe. Find some love in the world. And take care of yourselves. Because as we're fond of saying, you're the only you have. Okay? We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.